20 years ago, I was building my very first contact center. And I remember buying those servers and putting them into an HVAC closet so I could keep them cool. I'm sure some of y'all can relate to that. Back then, Stacey was the go-to guy for contact center. Now, fast forward 20 years later, not only is he still the go-to guy, he is a legend in the space. And you know what? When Fred isn't out there creating next level solutions for Fortune 500s, he's in the gym pushing out personal best. You see, because Fred is focused and dedicated to being the very best version of himself. And that's the type of guy that I had to have on the show. You see, because when I'm throwing 100-mile-per-hour truth bombs right down the center, I know that Fred was going to be ready to knock it out the park. So in this episode, we're going to get into something that, it's going to make some of you guys a little uncomfortable. We're going to talk about commissions. We're going to talk about AI-readiness and the dreaded transactional selling that's going on in the channel. So if you're ready to get into some unfiltered conversation, well, buckle up. It's time. Let's go.
Here to show up and show out. Here to show up and show out. What? Here to show up and show out. Here to show up and show out. Yeah.
Welcome to Shut the Hell Up and Sell Unfiltered, the podcast that's not afraid to tackle the uncomfortable truths and bad habits that keep you from reaching your potential. I'm your host, Ronnell Richards, award-winning sales expert, author, and top influencer in technology channel sales. Each week, I sit down with industry influencers and top performers for bold, honest conversations that are designed to cut through the noise and deliver real, actionable advice that you can apply immediately to grow your career and boost your sales success. No fluff, no excuses, just real talk, real influencers, and real results. Let's get into it.
Here to show up and show out. Here to show up and show out. Yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of Shut the Hell Up and Sell Unfiltered. I'm coming to you guys from the road. So, some of you may know that I like to call myself the James Brown of this business, not because I can sing or I'm talented in that way, because I'm the hardest working damn man in this industry. I'm always going to be somewhere working. And today, if you're looking at my beautiful backdrop, you're watching this on YouTube. And by the way, if you're not watching it on YouTube, you're missing. We're on every platform. So Apple, Spotify, all the platforms where you can listen to it. But getting that full video experience is just a whole nother level of being able to receive the content and the wonderful advice and direction that my guests are giving. So here today, I am in studio because I'm doing what I do. I shoot courses. So I'm in the studio today doing 3 courses for my friends at LinkedIn. So thank you, LinkedIn. Appreciate you guys. For any of our LinkedIn content creators or content producers and folks and all the folks that do all the work on my courses. Appreciate you guys and appreciate you watching. But most importantly, I appreciate our technology channel audience. And thank you guys for tuning in. And I know if you're tuning in, you're tuning in because you expect the heat, buddy. You expect that fastball, 102 miles per hour, right down the center. And let me tell you something. I got it for you. And I got it for you today. Like before this, we did our little pre-show prep. We always do a little bit of prep. I don't like to do too much prep, okay? Because I want to save it for the camera. Okay, I want to save it for the camera. And I want that energy. I don't want to take away before the show. So in our little bit of prep with today's guest, my guy, Stacey, who I've known for a very long time, Fred's about to throw a 105-mile-per-hour fastball straight down the middle. I don't know if y'all are ready for this. I am, because, I'm sitting there like Barry Bonds. I'm ready for it. Fred, welcome to the program, my friends. Good to see you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. Great to see you.
And you are looking fit as always. You are one of my brothers in fitness in the channel, so I appreciate that. And you understand what that means in terms of longevity and business and everything. I'd love it, before we get into the quick report questions, I openly talk about fitness, I share videos and all those sorts of things, talking about it not from the standpoint of like some bullshit artist like Andy Elliott, If you follow Andy Elliott, okay, well, so what? He's a bullshit artist. But from the standpoint of not this toxic masculinity sort of thing, but for me, it's about being able to perform at the highest level and making sure that I'm able to be the hardest working man in our business. What is fitness? What's the role of fitness in your success, Fred? And what sort of role does that play for you?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm with you. In order to perform, especially as we get older, fitness is a critical.
What? Who's getting older?
Oh yeah. We're still. I mean, we started in this game at like 3 or 4 kindergarten because we both been in the game for over 30 years. So I mean, we're still spring chickens. But no, I mean, fitness is absolutely critical, and I changed a lot of the way I look at fitness as I get older. I strength train, I lift, I move weight. That's what I do. And primarily because as you get older, the number one indicator of longevity and a happy life and independence is skeletal muscle mass. It's not cardiovascular. It's not all the other things that people talk. It's skeletal muscle mass. It's the ability to bend down and pick up groceries and, carry your kids or grandkids. And, I mean, it's moving up and down stairs. That takes muscle. And, the older we get, we start losing it pretty quickly after 40 if you don't maintain. So, and it's not just, it's not just fitness of the act of lifting, right? It's the food intake. Yeah. It's the minerals and vitamins and, and all the things that we do, to maintain our health and our mental health too. Because for me, I mean, I always joke the gym is my psych ward. Yeah. It's where the very few times throughout the day where I can put in my headphones, I can go focus on mind-muscle connection. And, sometimes I listen to podcasts. A lot of times lately, I've just been, music, just blaring, really focusing on the lifts. But I don't think about all the other stressors. And it's funny when I'm not thinking about everything else, I solve some of our hardest challenges and come up with ideas. And I'm more, it's that ability to turn off the frontal lobe and let your mind, wander. And it's amazing how the mind works and you can just come up with ideas. So, I mean, the fitness is a significant part of my life, including the food intake all the way through. Okay. I love that last thing that you said, because I think that's something we don't talk about a lot, which is the ideation that happens when we are able to remove ourselves from the work environment and we're doing something totally unrelated, whether it's jogging or whether it's crushing a deadlift like you or whatever. Okay, so I love that, and that's a great takeaway, something for people to think about, and some of the benefits of fitness or activities that just aren't related to your business, and ability to turn your brain off for the business, and you'll find that magically business benefit comes from that. All right, let's get into some rapport building questions real quick. So you got me on this fitness track, so I need to know: bench press or deadlift? Which one? Bench press, but not flat bench. So the science has changed a lot from when we were kids, to lifting, to joint health. I use a lot of weighted hammer equipment, stuff that still gives you the weight resistance, not necessarily the tension like the cable machine, stuff like that. I like the full weighted resistance, but it doesn't put pressure on your shoulders. There's no risk. So I can go up to, I do over 500 pounds on the decline press on hammer, without turning my shoulders. Right? I love it, Fred. That was like a humble brag. I love it. Well, I've seen you doing the decline, man. I've seen you doing that machine. Yeah. So you actually had a video of you throwing 3 plates on there, man, and repping it out, and I loved it. I just had to throw that in there, though. I love it. Humble brag. So I'm working the weight back up because, to your point, I've been dealing with shoulder pain, shoulder issues for about 2 years. And now I've started to work through them. If you guys are dealing with some shoulder stuff, hit me up. Reach out to me. I got some exercises and some equipment things that were able to really help me very quickly
Like by very quickly, well, that's relative. By very quickly, I mean a matter of months when I was dealing with something for about a, year and a half, 2 years. And so now, Fred, I'm back. I'm not ready to do what you're talking about yet. So I'm not the big boy Fred status, but I'm pushing a little bit away.
You are.
All right. So my next question for you. Here we go. Let's go Marvel or DC. Who you got?
That's so tough. Inherently growing up DC, but modern versions. Although I don't like where any of it is really heading. I'd say modern versions though Marvel. So we'll see where it all works out. But I was a Superman guy, a Batman kid, but I was also more into Star Wars than I was, the Marvel universe.
Oh, I should add that. Well, they're all going to collide here in a moment because they're all going to be owned by the same company.
Right.
You're going to see
crossovers. We'll have Jedi popping into the Marvel universe.
Oh, yeah. It's happening. All right. Next question for you. Let's go. Oh, this is a fun one. Dogs or cats?
Oh, this may be an unpopular opinion, but I love cats, man. Now I love dogs. Don't get me wrong. And dogs, but cats are so close to humans, in my opinion, of behaviors. I mean, dogs are amazing because they're always happy. They're always running around. But a cat, will walk up, jump on something and be like, look at you, and then knock something off of a table or, I just like the attitude. I love also with yours and I lifestyle, my girlfriend works, cats are a lot easier. You can travel more, without having to worry about, putting them in a cage somewhere with someone else. I've always liked cats. Growing up on a farm, we had dogs. I mean, but I've always been a cat guy. It's
okay. So I'm going to need you to be, as we continue this conversation, I'm going to need you to be very definitive. Okay, I can't have you playing both sides on this show. We tell it how it is. So Fred, you're officially a cat guy. I'm a cat guy, but but dogs are okay. I don't want to offend the dog. No, you're a cat guy. You know what that tells me? It tells me a lot. And that's a conversation for another day. You know how I feel about cats? Cats are the assholes of pets. They are just assholes. And I know a percentage of the audience is going to be including my wife, who happens to love cats. It's going to be I'm out on Ronnell. Well, that's okay, Melly. If you don't want to watch this show, that's okay. It's not for you anyway, but I love you. But anyway, my wife has this cat. His name is Magellan. I did not want a cat. Okay, I don't do pets. Here's why I don't do pets. Responsibility. I'm super busy, and it's not that I don't appreciate the value that pets bring and all that. I really do. But I didn't want the responsibility. Anyhow, my wife gets this cat. His name's Magellan, and he is just he's an asshole. But he knows who the alpha is in the house, and I like that. But he's kind of an asshole. He's got the attitude and all that. But let me tell you something about this cat, Fred. Let me tell you something about this cat. About a year and a half ago, he disappeared. This guy is an indoor cat, never been outside, right? And he disappeared. And my wife's like, where the hell, what happened to him? And my wife and my daughter are they're all upset. Where's Magellan? Where'd they call him Jelly? Where's Jelly? I'm like, and I was feeling bad. I'm like, shit, damn, I'm expecting, I'm searching all through the house. And dude, after a week or two, I'm expecting smells. I'm slipping, where's the smell? He got into someplace he couldn't get out of. Let me tell you something. I'm at a coffee shop on a Friday. This is about 40 days after Magellan, we have noticed that he goes missing. And my wife calls me and on FaceTime, which she doesn't do very often. She's FaceTiming me and she's crying. She's like, oh, look. And she has this emaciated Magellan in her. I'm like, holy shit. This cat got out, Fred. He got out and he survived never been outside. He survived 40 days out in the wilderness. And here's the thing. This was like very, very early spring, and we got some bad rain, and it was really cold. And so while he's an asshole, he is a G. He's forever goated to me. Because this dude, like, he survived 40 days in the wilderness. Fred, I could not do that. I couldn't do that. And he did that. So as much as Magellan the cat is an asshole, he is an OG, and he has my respect for always.
You know, you said it. I mean, I guess that's my thing for cats. They're assholes. I love that. I love that they've got their own mind and they just do whatever the hell they like. You know, dogs look at us like we're gods. Cats look at us like we're peasants. You know, they are the king, and you know they rule over whatever their area is. But I mean, growing up with cats, we had one cat, and then we'll jump. But I got to tell you this, since you got on the story, we had this cat. So our dog was 3/4 pit, 1/4 black lab. So just solid muscle, big giant chest, big old head, you know, pit bull, right? I mean, you know, more pit, color of a lab, but body like a pit. This cat would get just to where the chain would end and just mess with that dog. And that dog would have, you know, I mean, torn an average human up, let alone a little tiny cat. And he would just mess with him all day long. And I love just their attitude, man. I mean, you know, how can you not love that kind of creature? You know, and so anyways.
I don't, but I respect them. All right. So before we get into your hot topic, which I hope you're ready. I hope you're ready for this. I saw the coolest cat, yesterday. And if you guys are, in fact, I will put this on the podcast because I took a video of it. So as you guys are watching this, editors, boom, magic. Magic. All right, cat's there. Y'all see the cat. Fred doesn't, but y'all are seeing the cat. This cat was so cool. It was like part African, one of them African cats. The guy had it on a leash, and it was like kind of big, and it was spotted, and it was like, yeah, it was pretty damn cool. So you guys are enjoying it. Fred, sorry. But through the magic that is post-production, you guys are watching the cat. All right, enough cat stuff. Fred, so this show, and just a little bit of background on you and I's relationship. So I don't even know the years because I don't want to date us anymore, but I feel like we're probably coming up on 20. And since we first met. And just a little background for the audience. So Fred did some great work back in the day for a company called TouchStar. And I was a TouchStar customer. And so TouchStar is in the contact center business. And for those of you that don't know, I ran multiple contact centers. And that's how we did a lot of our business in the technology channel is through contact centers. And so it's so funny, Fred, because I bought about $100,000 worth of contact center software back then from TouchStar, which today you can do what I did, what I paid $100,000 for about, I don't know, $200 a month, $300. It's crazy. But anyway, that's how you and I first became acquainted. Do you recall that? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you were running RDI, man. You know, but you put those numbers and people don't realize. I mean, you know, half of that cost was hardware.
Yeah.
It was a 4U server, dialogic boards, you know, and all the things that we required to connect to TDM, you know, and the punch down blocks to go out to the agents. I mean, that's where you and I come from. I mean, that's our old days, man.
You want to know where I kept that? Where I kept those servers?
Where did you keep them?
In an HVAC room in my office that I had cut out holes in the HVAC to try to keep it cool in there. It was so janky, but you know, this is entrepreneurship, guys. Got to be resourceful.
I got somebody who one-upped you, stuck a wall or a window air conditioner, cut out the wall, and stuck the window air conditioner into the server room.
Oh, that was so creative.
Right?
Yes. I wasn't that creative or that technically inclined. That's good. I wish I could have seen a picture of that. I got some pictures of my servers somewhere around there. Maybe I'll find them. So anyway, point is, we've known each other for a long time, and we've had a lot of conversations over the years about this business, and where we're at, some of the challenges, and as we'll go ahead and own it as elder statesmen in this world. I know that, like myself, you feel a responsibility to be a leader in the space and to help it to continue to grow and evolve. And sometime years in the future, whenever that is, decades in the future, or when you and I say, okay, we've had enough, we want it to be better than it. We want our presence to have mattered, right? And so there's more of just like about professionalism. There's an altruism thing here as well. So I'm excited to have this conversation with you. So right now, my friend, I'm going to turn the floor over to you. I want to know, what is that hot button topic? Let's get into it. This is what people are waiting for. This is why they tune in. What you got? So,
I mean, you know this, but in the back rooms and in quiet corners, there's a lot of new entries into the channel. In software suppliers on the AI side, changing models. That's all there. They're unfamiliar with our model, but even in the existing suppliers, this is the thing that I think we're not talking about enough. So the suppliers are starting to take a hard look at the way that commissions operate in the channel. And what I mean by that in particular is perpetuity in the traditional model that we're all so used to. I'll pause there. This is not an easy topic because, we're talking about everybody's livelihood, right? There's TAs out there and consulting firms wrapped around, agencies. And there's a lot of people out there that count on this model.
And with that pause, Fred, I will give people the opportunity to tune out right now. If you want to go listen to another show, where they're going to talk about, things that they're going to throw softballs and just talk about products and services. And then this is your opportunity. We're going to talk about shit that matters, and it's unfiltered. It is what it is. So wherever we go, we're going to go. And, but know this is always about helping our industry, and we can't help it to grow without confronting these challenges and confronting the things that we're all talking about this shit, Fred. We're talking about it. These things don't get talked about publicly. And if they don't get talked about publicly, well, then they don't exist. Right. So we have to start by it's like recovery, right? It's recovery. We got to start by acknowledging it. All right. And then we acknowledge it. Okay, this is real. What do we do? So, all right, you guys had your opportunity to tune out. Now those that wanted to hang in with us, Fred, let's roll. Let's attack it. So let's talk about this, man. Going back into this, how from your perspective in the space, given your history and given where you stand right now, how do you view this?
Being a former, my story, right? I was an agent, I ran centers, then I got into the software side, and I spent a lot of my time, in software companies. So I've been on the supplier side. I've actually said the words that I struggled with the channel because of the perpetuity language. I have said those words long before I ever got to the point where I'm running a contact center focused TSD. So how do I feel about it? I think in some cases, it's very justified by the suppliers to be questioning this model. Very justified. From a value proposition, from a work done, there is. Look, man, in quiet corners, I call it circuit slingers. There's a lot of people out there that are used to selling commodities. That are happy to take that mailbox money every single month and not do really anything post introduction. And, I get it. I get why you would question that. Now, In my position of being in contact centers and working with our gurus and our model, obviously being experts, staying with a client, managing customers, long-term relationships, I struggle. I of course feel like the perpetuity, there's value there. There's more than enough value for both the client and the supplier. But
well, hold on, Fred, because what I heard you just say a moment ago, and I'm inclined to agree with what I think I heard, is that like there is this tradition of if tradition is the right word, you said circuit slingers, right? With the transactional business folks, right? And if I'm a supplier in the space, I'm saying, I'm gonna bring all the resources to the table. I got to manage the customers through their life cycle and all that sort of stuff. And you're just using me as a, in the transactional sales model. Why am I going to pay commissions forever for that? Because at some point, like, I'm losing, right? If you're not providing ongoing support and service, well, I got to do that in order to maintain that customer. And so, I mean, to me, it's simple math, right? And this isn't like a for or against it statement. It's just a business statement. Like, if I look at it as, a supplier in a space, I'm like, okay, I love the idea that I only pay you when you sell something, right? That's awesome, because that means I don't need direct sellers. I don't need to be paying salaries. I don't need to be paying insurance. I don't need to pay all these things. I got to pay direct people, right? So you sell something and I pay you. Great. I love it. And it makes a lot of sense. But at what point is it that, okay, especially if they're not providing, again, service and support, at what point do you get to that point of where now it's not profitable anymore? Is it 2 years? Is it 3 years? Is it 5 years? I don't know, but that's what I hear from you. Is that kind of what you think or what you're saying? What's your perspective on that?
Yeah. So, I mean, being on the software side, the value of the channel is the cost of acquisition, all the hard costs that go into the staff and resources. So it's really expensive in the contact center. So that's my world. I don't do security, SD-WAN, infrastructure. We're solely contact center. The cost of acquisition for a new customer is extremely high. So the channel makes total sense in the contact center. Very complex, very, this. There's a million integrations. Every center is a little bit different. There's a lot of value for the channel in the contact center space. But the question is, when something's just kicked over the fence, how much value do you really recover on that? What does it take to make that pay off that CAC, that cost of acquisition? So let's say 1.2, 12, 14 months, depending on the product, kind of makes up that CAC. Now, what does it take to pay off the actual people and resources? But that argument, even amongst itself, to be really good in the channel, you need channel managers, you need people regionally, you need to spend on MBF funds. The game, so there's a calculation there that exists, and I think it's going to be significantly different depending on CCAS versus WFM versus conversational AI and all the technologies. But there is a number for every company where that number no longer makes any sense. However, if you look at the volume that the channel does, as long as that volume doesn't drop, people can go out to NICE 5.9, look at their quarterly earnings, see what they produce from new business revenue quarterly from the channel, and they can dig and find out information, right? Find the data that they need. That volume, I see that accelerating. So on the other hand, if you're not in the channel, you're going to miss out on probably around 30% of all moving opportunities, period, in the contact center market. I can't speak to the rest of the world. So there's this double-edged sword that I think the suppliers are facing right now, which is, what do we completely miss out on all these opportunities that TAs own? Because by not participating, that's what happens. Right?
Okay, so here's what here's what I hear, and here's how I see it for mine. And I'm going to give you guys some insight. Like, you're going to hear things on this show you're not going to hear on any other show. I might drop some information, some inside information that I have that I'm not going to tell you who it's from or where it's from, but you guys know me, and you know I'm a credible source. I'm never going to talk about things that I either don't know or haven't learned firsthand. So here's the thing. I have a connection that runs a company that's in the space, right? That's in the channel. They're not from channel. This is a very typical, like, usual sort of example. They're not from channel. They're direct. Okay, and they created a channel part of their business, and and 24 revenue looked pretty decent. A couple $1 million in channel revenue, pretty decent, except for the fact that they have about double that in expenses.
Right.
Here's the thing, and what I'm seeing across, and they are concerned and thinking about pulling out, right, or diminishing their efforts. Efforts in this space, right?
Yeah.
Here's where we've all seen the suppliers that come in and out of the space. We've all seen that, right? And what is happening is that I think that the bigger that our industry has gotten, and the more exposure and the more people that have gotten, they're looking at these things in ways they hadn't before, Fred. They're looking at profitability in ways that they had not before. So as we're talking about having this conversation about commissions and perpetuity, like, that was a no-brainer years ago, right? Like, or even a couple of years ago, like, if a supplier's coming in the space, oh yeah, cool, no brainer. All right, perfect. You got it. We're signing up for that, right? Yeah. That is not so easy anymore, because they're looking at their failure and success of other companies that have gotten in the space, and they're looking more closely at all of these other profitability metrics that matter. Like you just said, like, it's not just about, hey, product costs $100 and I'm paying X amount of commission on that product, and then our profit is what's left. No, I got my marketing investment. I've got all the staff that I have to dedicate. I got all of these things. So as you start to dig deeper, I think that we are at this critical juncture where we've reached this. I don't want to say we've peaked. We haven't peaked yet, but we've at this critical juncture where now we've got so much attention that people are looking differently. Companies are looking differently. Companies are going to be a little bit more critical. They're going to be a little bit more critical in making that decision. Where do they jump into? And they're going to be more critical with the partners. This is where I'm going with this. They're going to be more critical with the partners that they want to work with. So our business was built on a lot of, as you said, what'd you call them? Slingers? The
circuit slingers.
Circuit slingers. No disrespect. Listen, before the circuit slingers, there was like long distance slinging, right? And hey, when I got started in this, we're doing a lot of UNEP, right? Like, that's actually how I started in the business. UNEP. If you guys don't know what that means, look it up. It's in an archive. Anyway, here's the thing. We've evolved everywhere along the way. This is the message that I think that people need to know, and I want to know your feedback on this. What I think people need to know and be aware of is that the game has changed. And to be a successful partner moving forward, you have to be providing more value to your customers and more value for the suppliers to get those deals that you want to get. As a supplier, they're wanting more partners that have, but that's why MSPs are growing so much in our space, right? Because MSPs have all that infrastructure. They're super attractive to a lot of suppliers because they have those support infrastructures. So the circuit slinger guy, which, by the way, you're going out of style because now we're in tech stacks. We're in tech stacks. Yeah. Fred, like, if you're a circuit slinger, you're going to lose a business to someone that is coming in there and providing 4 or 5 solutions all wrapped into one, as opposed to just saying, hey, listen, I can save you money on X, Y, or Z. I know I threw a lot at you. What are your thoughts on that?
So, yes, absolutely.
That's it. That's all I needed. That's it. Just yes. Done.
That's a great cut. Done. So the trusted advisors need to evolve. There's no question about it. In my space, to be a contact center advisor, there's a different level. You can't just talk the surface level anymore. Artificial intelligence has been around for a long time, but it's now actually enterprise grade. This changes everything because it changes the billing model. It changes the commission models. It changes the structure, the amount of information and understanding of a practice. Companies don't go to our gurus just to find the best CCaaS or to find the best, conversational analytics platform. They're coming because they have problems and they need help solving those problems. And sometimes they don't know the problems that they have. They need, things like, there's a reason we developed and deployed AI-readiness as an offering to the market for contact centers. We built that product, and we're also building another product under the hood, because the innovation in the channel has to match with the innovation, in who we serve, which is contact center buyers. That means our agents are, the other TSDs that use our portfolio, they need access to all this as well. They just, what I've seen over, let's say many, many years since you and I have been in this game, is the channel has never evolved. Really, it's still the same fundamental, sense. Give them their due. In contact really helps CCaaS enter into the channel. It hasn't really changed. You've got a product, you get a tick, you get a one pager, you get a couple of sheets. They give you some marketing language to get in front of the right buyer. You get them on the phone, you talk to them a little bit, you build some rapport, you make a registration. The supplier sells it, and you get commission, right? That world, if you're not providing additional value to the buyers, there are a lot of firms out there that are. And you will lose the clients. Yeah. The commissions will dry up. And suppliers are going to ask those tough questions. And I think what I'm going to find over the next couple of years, what I find interesting is, how do they segment that audience? Are we going to see the same verticalization as we do oftentimes in technology advancements? Things start out broad and then become very vertical specific, like we did. Hence we're not the only ones that did it, right? But bottom line is the agents out there really need to evolve. They need to get serious about their craft. And that means, training, really understanding, what is we talked about this before, ICP, understanding who you work well with, who you have success with and are profitable, and how you can further help them. Past that individual point solution that you deliver value on, that's just the beginning. Yeah. Yeah. It should be a long-term client relationship, that continues on and continues to add value. That's how you ensure your spot in the channel. That builds value. And a lot of people in the channel are chasing that fund or that sale of their, portfolio of clients, to get that exit, right? The last few years, we've seen a lot of this going on.
But that's peaked. Yeah. I'm going to be bad cop now.
Okay.
I'm going to be bad cop.
All right.
So 10 years ago, Fred, have we ever heard M&A in our space?
No.
Never, right? And so I'm going to be bad cop to our transactional sellers, because there's been a lot of transactions. And God bless them. Listen, I'm not knocking transactional selling. I'm just trying to be honest with our community in terms of where our industry is going. Okay. So when these guys entered our space with all of this money and all of this intelligence, you're talking about Harvard and Yale guys, Wall Street guys. They're not dumb. They're very smart. And you know what? They want their damn money. Like, they're not here for shits and giggles. They're here to make money. And so that transactional seller, you are feeling great about yourself. and you should. I applaud you. A lot of people have made so much money and changed their lives and impacted their families and all that stuff. But what I'm here to tell you is that you're not valuable the way that you think that you are anymore, because they've done the numbers. They've done the numbers. They know, and those numbers are trickling down through our ecosystem. So if you look at our big companies, our TSDs, our suppliers, and you've seen all this M&A activity, like the guy sitting at the top of the M&A, that's their job, to do the numbers. They know the value of you, transactional person, and you may be feeling good about your book of business and whatnot, but I'm telling you, moving forward, your value has diminished, and they will be very happy to say, oh, transactional guy, here's what we're willing to give you. And either you accept it or not. And they can give two shits, because you're not their target. Your target is the people that can make them the most money, where there's this mutual value. Well, I'll say mutual. The reality is this is called, they don't want it to be equal. Like, again, these are smart dudes. These are smart people, but they want more value out of their TAs and out of their TSD relationships as well. Like all of this stuff. So where you said that, like, there hasn't been like this evolution or change in our industry, we are quietly under a forced evolution and a takeover. I mean, look at TSD. I'm not going to throw names, but we'll say the largest TSDs in our space. Look at how their behaviors have changed as it relates to compensation and other things. They're aware of this. They can't, and to their credit, and to all you guys' credit, like, I think what you're doing is for the good of our industry, beyond just like, hey, this is how you're going to be profitable and make money. Like, it's the only way for us to sustain and scale. Like, you can't be giving out percentages like you did 15 years ago. And now you got 400 or 500 employees, and you got all these systems in place. To your original point, you've put all of these systems in place to do the things that a great TA would be doing internally. So if I've got all that stuff and all that investment, well, then I can't pay you like a great TA that has all of that stuff internally. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And, again, to your point, I don't want to take away from this. To be great at business development and land clients is one of the hardest jobs.
Yep.
In anything, B2B sales especially, and the noise in the market. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't want to take anything away from commodity, sales folks out there that are used to the, get the signature, get it done, and be on your way. That's hard work, but is that worth perpetuity is what we're questioning. And I think the whole industry is clearly starting to question this whole model.
Yep.
And we see it in even the biggest, and again, I'll stay on track of not throwing out names, but I've seen even some of the biggest suppliers that are normally all in on channel that are pulling back, or at least it to me clearly appears that way. And through side conversations, I'm assuming that's exactly what's going on. So we've got to do our job, and as a TSD and myself, and, working with our gurus and, advisors, and, we've got to do our job to help them hopefully see where they go next. And quite frankly, if you're not ready or in a position where you're going to build that back end, the account management, learn the new skills, bring in the right resources, partner with people that kind of fill that backside of what you should be doing to service and provide value to your clients, maybe you should sell. Maybe you should take the multiples that you get today, and go right off into the sunset. And that's okay. I'm good with that. Congratulations. I mean, stuff isn't easy.
Yeah.
So, I just know that we're under, I like how you said it. We're under a forced evolution. And it's going to accelerate even faster.
It has to, because people want their money.
Yeah. Well, especially that, right? I mean, we're what, 5 years into this, 7 years into this PC VC or PE, VC money path, it's coming due. Some people are going to be cashing some checks soon, and we're going to see how that all shakes up. But to be blind to it and not talk about it is the worst thing. I mean, you can't stick your head in the sand.
So you've shared some advice for like the existing folks that like built businesses and all that, been around for a long time. I think we both have, and I think the takeaway for them is, hey, listen, it's evolving, and it's going to evolve quick. So you have to decide whether you want to evolve with it or you want to ride off into the sunset. Nothing wrong with either one of those things, okay? But the second thing is, and I'd like to ask you is, so newer folks getting into the space as a TA, like, how does this impact them, and what should they be thinking about in building their businesses?
Yeah. So keep in mind your end client is absolutely the essential linchpin of this whole thing. So when you're creating value for the client, the buyer, forget the TSD and how you monetize and how the commissions flow. Start at the client. I mean, just like in any technology company, right? You start with the customer. Understand, what they need, where their pain points, and recognize that in today's world, it doesn't need to be just you out there. What I would say is, pound wise, penny foolish. Is that the old English saying? Recognize that there are other people that have a lot of expertise that you could partner with to get deals done. Don't just try to go it alone. The day of the single cowboy, building a $10 million book of business, as a TA is gone. You're going to have to bring a lot more value, which means more resources, different thinking, serve the client well. Business development is hard. You've got the noise of probably 2,000 or so new AI entries going after your clients, distracting them in my space, if you're a contact person. But this is going to happen in every single vertical, right? Maybe not hardware, maybe not, infrastructure, not as aggressively, but everybody's going to feel this eventually. Contact centers just happens to be the tip of the spear. So you got to figure out a way to differentiate yourself, do the work. Don't be afraid to partner. But when you do partner, anybody that's ever done business for a long time can tell you the wrong partner is like the wrong spouse. It's the worst decision you can make in your life. Yeah. And you could spend years digging out from that. So just be aware you don't have to do it alone. Figure out ways to bring the right people, right resources, the right people, the right products, it's entering today. Man, this is a tough place.
When has it not been?
Well, yeah,
there's always been great success, and and people change their lives in their business, but it's always been difficult. And I would submit to you, Fred, that it's easier today than it's ever been. Because when I sold my first deal 23 years ago, it took 6 months for me to get a $40, $50 check. Try building a business off of that. And today, with tech stacks and spiffs and all these things, you can, with the right plan, you can be successful much faster, and you can actually pay your mortgage in sooner than 3 years, like it was back in the day. I love to get your perspective or your advice based upon what we're just talking about, your advice for new suppliers entering the space or thinking about entering.
Yeah. So you could imagine I spend half my time on supplier conversations, right? Literally. And probably half of that, so 25% of my overall time is on new potential suppliers trying to get into the channel, because somebody somewhere said you had to have a channel strategy. So first of all, if you're a new supplier, one, if you're coming from outside the U.S. into the U.S. and you don't have local presence, you're going to struggle. I would say wrong time. Don't enter the channel until you have a North American presence, period. And don't enter unless you've got at least one person dedicated to the channel. Don't do it. Don't waste your time, money, and resources chasing after something you're not ready for. The channel is amazing, right? You can provide scale. You get access to, like you said, non-payroll sellers, out there talking about your product with their clients. But if you don't have the channel enablement, content, materials, the ability, the knowledge, the understanding, and the resources, don't do it. Don't call me, because I'll tell you the same thing just on a one-to-one video, right?
So one-to-one to thousands and hopefully millions out there that'll be watching this show. So I'd love to just have you dig into that a little bit more. And here's my question for you. Like, say you're one of these companies and you want to enter you're thinking about entering the space, but it's you, right? It's you, Fred Stacey. What is the ideal sort of way to enter? Like you just mentioned, you said, hey, you got to have a dedicated person. Like, what are those, in your opinion, like non-negotiables that you should have if you're going to take your success in this space seriously?
Yeah, if I'm running a software company today and I'm looking at when do I pull the trigger on channel, which is basically what I heard you asking me, right? When, as a software executive, would I do it?
And what do they need to enter?
Yeah. So the non-negotiables for me would be, one, I've had to prove out with enough client base that I've got product market fit, right, of some kind. I understand who my audience is, my ICP. At least the best you can, right? I mean, many companies in software, especially as you expand from a point solution into a platform, that ICP kind of changes, but you got to know what it is today. You got to understand who you serve well, and then you've got to have a dedicated marketing team. A lot of times people have a sales and marketing person, right? Early stage software today, especially with all the AI tools, you can run super lean. And still look a lot bigger, right? But you've got to have, your marketing buttoned up. You got to know your ICP. You got to understand, and you got to have enough time in the particular market. In this case, North America. If you're going to come here, you got to have enough clients that you can actually provide references, case studies, things back to the TAs, because even the great TAs will get your product, but if you don't provide them with the tools for them to be successful, it'll be one-off, and you'll be spinning your wheels for way too long. It all depends on the number. I mean, I'd say I try to target, let's say if it's tech, I want to see a company around 5 to 10 million in ARR, because that's usually where you get a couple of layers. You're able to afford a channel leader. That's really kind of that early stage, but that number isn't necessarily true for every organization, because you just don't need the engineering resources that we used to. It's interesting times, man. So
what do you think about like the tech? Like you just made mention of a tech. Like if I'm coming into the space, like what sort of TA enablement technologies or things should I have in place?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you and I have seen every platform, every partner platform out there, and how many of them have value? Really? I mean, how many TAs are logging into somebody's partner portal because they can't wait to see the next PDF, or the next video?
What I would say, Fred? I think that one of the reasons why that's the case is because, and we're calling them TAs today. This is the world I know intimately as being a successful agent for a very long time. Is because there's no personal value. And there's never there's poor training, there's poor understanding of personal impact and value of any of these things. So like it looks like just another chore that I'm doing for you, and no real like sales enablement and showing me and coaching me and enabling and showing me how this can directly correlate to better business for me. And then even some of the things that are well-meaning, like marketing automation tools, which could be very beneficial. It seems to me, I see those a lot of times as like box checking. Oh, we got to have a marketing automation tool. Okay, cool. We got a marketing automation tool. It's got slicks in there that are loaded, good luck. But see, as a TA, if I understand intimately how I can use that for my business as a whole, not just for you, I think that's where an evolution that needs to kind of happen with smart suppliers in the space, and understanding that, if you want to really, if you want to do business with me and you want to be, you want me to sell your product, bring value to my business, irrespective of your product. You understand what I'm saying? Like, bring value to me, and guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to sell your product, but with everything from the lens of, here's my marketing automation tool to help you to send slicks about my shit, as opposed to, hey, listen, here's this marketing automation tool. Let me show you how you can use it to impact your business. Oh, and by the way, if you want to include my stuff, we got stuff in there for that as well. Right. But and what happens is, oh my God, people will sell your stuff, but you're bringing real tangible value to their business. And you're now truly becoming more of a partner as opposed to just a vendor. A lot of our suppliers are just vendors. Sorry. It's true.
True. Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, in the end, if you're a supplier and you're looking at getting in the channel, you better commit to building trust, understanding who people are and how to help them be able to be successful at selling your tool.
Well, hold on, Fred. Hold on. But we do. We build trust. We get in and we go have parties and take you to dinner and baseball games. Isn't that relationships?
Stop.
Isn't that building value?
Stop.
All right, Fred, this has been an awesome conversation, man. I always love when we have the opportunity to chat, and I could do this for hours. But I want to tell me, is there anything that we missed that you feel like you'd want to share for either TAs or suppliers that you think might be of benefit, that's in line with this conversation that we've had?
Just don't ever forget this business is really what we just talked about, partnerships. It's about trust. It isn't, we're all trying to make money. We're all trying to do it profitably. We're trying to change the world, make it better, whether you're a supplier or TA. We're also trying to build a business and, be successful. Don't ever, as an AI optimist, don't ever forget that it's still human to human. Business is always going to be that, always will be. So no matter how shiny and cool your new tool is, does not make you better than the TA out there working 18 hours a day to build their business. So suppliers, remember that. TAs, remember the suppliers got a business to run. They got products to build. They got clients to service. So, I mean, if everybody just remembers that and respects everybody's, got a job and got stuff to do. So let's figure out how to do stuff together well and, with integrity and with trust. And I mean, we'll all figure this out. I
love it. Fred, thank you so much, man. It's again been a pleasure to chop it up with you. Always is. And I just want to thank all of you for watching this show. I know that some of the things that are said, you may be like, oh yeah, I agree with that 100%. Some of them you may be like, oh shit, no, Ronnell's full of shit, or Fred is partially full of shit. Fred's not full of shit though. Fred's not. Ronnell may be a little bit, but the objective and the goal here is to help to continue to grow our industry and evolve it, and to make you think. I want you to think. I want you to question. I want you to question how you're doing business, and make sure that you're setting yourself up for success in the future, because we've been on an autopilot in a whole lot of ways. And to the points that Fred made in this conversation, we're moving faster than ever right now. And there's some checks that or some bills rather that are coming due. And we need to make sure that we're prepared for that. And so this is about your success as a TA, your success as a supplier, and being more intentional about your business and having a plan. So thank you all for joining us. Please subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Share it with your friends. If you liked something that we said, share it on LinkedIn. Let people know. If you didn't like something we said, that's fine too. Talk about it on LinkedIn. Tell me how much I'm full of shit, or or Fred got something wrong. That's okay. Dialogue is the win for us. Would you agree, Fred?
Oh yeah, of course. Call me out.
All right, but I like being right though. Let's just be clear. I do like being right.
Well, and it's nice to be right most of the time. I appreciate you, man.
All right, my friend. Thank you all for watching us. We'll catch you on the next episode. Thanks for tuning in to Shut the Hell Up and Sell Unfiltered. If you found today's conversation valuable, make sure you subscribe, rate, and review the show. For more resources, including gap assessments, custom sales consulting, or online courses designed to take your sales game to the next level, visit me at ronnellrichards.com or head over to sayless.academy. Until next time, remember, stop talking, start listening, and shut the hell up and sell.
Here to show up and show out. Here to show up and show out. Here to show up and show out. Yeah.